Well, a little bit of a letdown for Oiler fan on the lid lifter. The Battle of Alberta, Oilers coming out on the wrong side of it. 4-3 shootout loss, despite the fact they got out to a 3-0 lead. But a stinker from Skinner and a letdown from the group. And then a long shootout, and the Oilers hand over a couple of points to the Calgary Flames. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Our first regular season post-game edition. Man, are we ever glad that the regular season is underway. Lots to talk about on the show tonight. We'll break this game down. Also, Oilers signing Jack Roslovic. What does it mean? Where's he going to play? What do we think of the player? We're going to get into all that as well. Struddy is ready to go right away here. Rob Brown will be joining us shortly. And Struds, as always, our show brought to you by our amazing title sponsors over at Timber House.
Have you ever considered adding a garden suite or laneway home for aging parents or loved ones? The team at Timber House can design and build the perfect space for your property. With a focus on naturally inspired living, they create warm, thoughtful spaces that enhance the lives of your loved ones and provide an oasis to help them age in place. Visit timberhouse.ca.
Right on. Well, Struds, you were at the game tonight. Nice ovation for Connor McDavid. Everybody was anticipating that. Team gets off to a nice little start. Like the building, and we'll get to breaking it down in a minute, Struddy, but that had all the makings of a much better start than what the Oilers have gotten the last couple of years. The building was rocking, and it sort of had that feeling at first.
Well, it was great. I thought the intros were great. Some nice ovations for, the longstanding guys, the new guys, and of course the captain. They get up 3-0. I'm like, man, this is going to be a blowout. I had some friends from out of town. They were excited. And they all said, oof, oof, oof.
There we go.
This is not the way we had scripted it out if you're an Oilers coach or player. So really a tale of two games in many ways, Shoggy.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get to that in a minute. Zuby, you guys had the first Struddy's World of the season this afternoon, our live stream from 12 to 1 o'clock on Wednesdays. How did the show go today, buddy? I know you weren't feeling great. You were playing hurt.
I think I was working at about 60%. I'm climbing up to 70. I'm climbing up into that 70 range, I think. But we had fun. I medicated and pushed through, and we had some good chat, and we had a great stream, and it was a fun time.
Struddy, what'd you think, buddy? Nice being at the helm, eh? Like nice being the guy in control.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. I'm just talking. Zuby's in control, but no, it was really fun to get it going again. We'll do it every Wednesday. Lots of good info. I thought setting up this game and interesting storylines that we talked about. We're kind of running through this game tonight.
100%. Okay, well, I'm fighting through it a little bit. My voice is cracked twice already on the show. Don't know how many more times it will, but let's keep a count. Maybe that can be our poll. How many times is Shogger's voice going to crack tonight? I can feel it, and it ain't getting any better the more I talk. But let's get to the breakdown brought to you by the Canadian Brew House.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. During every Oilers game day at any Edmonton and area location, enter to win Oilers home game tickets at Rogers Place. Plus, enjoy $1 off Molson Canadian and Coors Light tankards. They all have 30-plus beers on taps, 50-plus TVs, all locations, and the largest rooftop patios in Canada. I've experienced all three very recently.
Attaboy. Always got to go check in on sponsor relations, buddy. I'm glad you're taking care of that for us over at the Canadian Brew House. So, good start for the Oil. Get themselves out to a 3-0 lead. RNH with the power play goal. Nice feed from Draisaitl. Andrew Mangiapane, the new top six forward, snipes. And, then Leon Draisaitl off a great feed from the guy that's in Hyman's place on the power play. Holy smoke, Struds. All the questions were answered. All the boxes were checked. It was like everything was going just tickety-boo, man.
It was perfect. Everything was going perfectly fine. We wondered, what was Mangiapane going to look at, or Tomaszek, and all these different guys, Regula. And, they all were involved in the play in the right way to start the game. I mean, the Mangiapane goal, what I loved about it, he scored the goal, but he fought for a puck inside the blue line, knocked it outside the blue line, stepped outside so he wasn't offside, followed the play up, gets in a perfect shooting position, receives a great pass, and just rockets it right over top of Dustin Wolf's glove.
Yeah.
I love that goal. Tomaszek and Brownie could maybe shed a bit more light in, but man, he adds a real different element to that power play. The first goal was a power play goal, I believe. And it opened up because he popped out from being the net front guy. He popped out, looked like he was a one-timer in the slot. The D-man had to pull out a bit, puck slides over, boom, suck on it. So, and then the nice pass backhand to Draisaitl. So they were involved in the play. They were really doing a lot. They were contributing in the ways that we expected them to heading into this game.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to mention here, I think a lot of things looked good early on because I think the Flames were hot garbage early on. And I'm not trying to take too much credit away from the Oilers, but it felt to me, Struds, like Calgary was not putting up a huge fight for the first half of that game or so. And so, Regula, I thought, looked strong and handling the puck and weaving his way around and making good decisions. And, for a big guy, look at that poise and look at that skill, right? I thought as the game heated up, when Calgary actually started playing, it changed a little bit. And it changed a little bit for a few guys. And I think that that's normal. But the Flames eventually checked in. Yes, it was a bit of luck, but the Oilers were the architects of their own undoing there in that 2-minute stretch.
Absolutely. So, just to your point, I think what happened is Oilers were just out skating and outplaying the Calgary Flames up until the first goal. And the Flames, I think the shift just one or two before, just that shift, they were starting to get some momentum. And then they're kind of at the end of the shift. Darnell Nurse gets the puck. He jumps up and taking on, kind of two Flames, tries to beat someone one-on-one, doesn't work, poke back behind him, and within seconds in the back of the Oilers' net. That's, you got to know that moment. You've been out there for a while. Yeah, you're in good shape. Just kick it down, get it behind their net, and we're going to learn to fight, get the change out there, and we're going to be okay. Well, it didn't work out that way. And then the penalty, Tomaszek's penalty, same thing, trying to beat a guy, he has the puck, doesn't have the speed to pull away, so he slows down. The puck's taken away from him. He reaches, boom, penalty. Now you're in the box. So, two self-inflicted plays by, in one case, a veteran player, in the other, in a guy who is old enough to know how to manage the game at those moments.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't love Nurse, as you said, Struds, trying to beat a guy one-on-one. Like, you're a defenseman, you're rushing the puck. You're not really the guy at the hash mark to try and walk a D-man. That's never really been Nurse, and no disrespect to him, but that's off the wall and deep and swoop back up and go play some D. That was a tough one. And after the game, Chris Knobloch, talking about that goal, said the puck should have never been in our end. So, there was probably a little frustration there about that one. So, but it's 3-2 at that point. And then just a really tough situation. Stuart Skinner comes out, bit of miscommunication, not definitive enough in his decision-making. Zuby, let's get right to the Weiss Johnson soundbox here. I want to hear from Stuart Skinner about that Flames third goal.
I just had to make a quicker decision. The game happens fast down there. And it was just kind of a miscommunication. And I was slow to react to, I think it was Coleman behind Bush. And then, it's a goal. Obviously, in the midst of it, if that doesn't go in, we win the game, 2 points. But you know what? I think the way that we responded as a team was fantastic. We were able to get into OT and be able to get out of there in OT as well, I think is huge, especially the way that it happened, us getting on the PK in the first, 40 seconds in the overtime. So overall, I thought the way that we battled tonight was fantastic.
So lots of guys play this game tonight and make different mistakes along the way, and they don't necessarily, life of being a goalie. Because otherwise it was a pretty good night for you, but that one thing.
Yeah, it's one bad decision, and it makes you look really bad. And that's just kind of how it goes. The other two, I thought the first one obviously pretty fluky. Second one, I think it's pretty borderline. I'm not too sure what you guys think, but it was just, I don't know. Honestly, I felt good about my game, and I will say that how we played defensively tonight was superb.
So Stu Skinner handles that, Struds, about as well as you can handle that. Took those questions head on, took the blame. That's what he needs to do. That's what he did. Complimented his team's play. Well handled by him off the ice. On the ice, the ones that are frustrated with Stu Skinner in net are going to say that happens too often. That happens far too much. And that the trust in this goalie is something that tonight is not going to help because it's just another one of those goals, Struds. Is it too soon to feel that way, or fair game because there's a history there?
Yeah, so in that moment, let's just take it through the play. The puck comes in on him, and there needs to be a lot of communication between the D-man and the goalie. Hurry, guy on it, quick. That there's got to be something. Now, I don't know if anything was said. I couldn't hear it, obviously in the rink, I couldn't hear what was going on. But it's like he freezes. So maybe he heard something that he didn't believe or he didn't, hear what the D-man was saying or was trying to understand it. But there's got to be more urgency in that moment by both the D-man and the goaltender in this case. And just honestly, it can't happen. Like let's just call it flat out. That can't happen in that moment or in any moment. That can't happen. Then larger picture, the Flames have a tough time generating offense. They do not have a lot of offense, right? No Huberdeau. They don't have a ton of guys that can really can score. So the 3 goals the Oilers gave were given to them. Not getting the puck deep in the offensive zone in goal 1. Goal 2, a bad penalty, get him on the power play. Yeah, it's lucky. Maybe it's a high stick, but you're the one who put him on the power play. Then that 3rd goal. So the Oilers were, I thought, in control of that game, and then they let the Flames back into it, and ultimately it cost them a point very early on the season.
Zuby, our resident goaltender, what say you on that situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, Struddy's exactly right, of course, but I think the biggest issue is that Stu, after he corrals it, he holds his stick up in between the puck and Bouchard. So as if he's going to flick it into the corner to his left. So Bouchard really can't take it at that point, or else he runs the risk of poking it through his legs or something. So that was the thing to me that stood out, is when they said, I think maybe he thought Bouchard was going to take it. Well, there's no way Bouchard could have taken it because of where he placed his stick after he did it. So once you do that with your stick, then you just got to get it off and flick it to the corner. It was unfortunate.
Okay. Do you want to hear from Chris Knobloch in the Weiss Johnson sound box, brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning? Their end of season AC sale is now on until the end of October. Get up to 20% off any in-stock air conditioners. Visit wjjingle.com. Remember that website. Forgot your back users. There's some deals there. wjjingle.com for exclusive specials. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson,
Here's the head coach post-game.
That happens throughout the season. Pretty tough to go through a whole season without something like that happening. If it happens more often than not, then we've got an issue. But, it's an unfortunate play. It's something that you don't want to see, but it happens.
All right, there it is. Chris Knobloch, pretty measured in his comments. What do we think of Skinner's night otherwise? Like, I was talking about this with another member of the media after the game. Like, what was the degree of difficulty on a lot of his saves tonight? He kind of had the one glove save that looked pretty good. There was the shorthanded stuff to keep the game going in overtime. There was a few decent late. Like, I think Strud's overall, his body of work tonight was like 98% good enough. And just that mistake obviously crushes him, but it's not like he was awful tonight.
No, and I agree with that. I mean, I think you take away that 3rd goal, you're like, okay, yeah, he was fine, right? Like there's no issue there. So, now, it's hard because you got to give everyone a chance to find their way into the season. But unfortunately for the goalie, a goal like that will be one that's remembered. It would have been a lot better if they could have won in a shootout and in or overtime to kind of just put that behind everyone. But that's, now that's kind of the last thing what people remember heading to game 1. The great thing is you got another game 2, and you have another 81 to go to set it. But I think that if he parks that play, I think we can say, okay, he's going to just look back and say, that was a pretty good game by me. And I can move on feeling decent about myself heading into game 2.
For sure. Okay. I'm going to head into the house here, Struds, because I'm getting
Okay.
home. Can you guys run through Relentless Player and the poll? And then I'll catch you on the other side of the break for takeaways. And Brownie should be pretty close to joining us by then, too.
Okay. Let's make it happen. Let's get to the Relentless Player, brought to you by UCAN Youth Services. Need reliable entry-level staff? UCAN trains Edmonton youth with the skills and confidence to show up ready to work and to grow with your team. Learn more and make a change today at ucan.ca. I was in the building, and Calgary looks like a pretty big team. They've got some big bodies, guys like Kirkland and Kevin Ball, even Rasmus Anderson's a pretty big one. But the guy that kind of drew my eyes was Adam Klapka. Now Adam, played 12 and a half minutes, and he was hitting everything. 6 hits by him. Mackenzie Weegar had 6 hits. You had Ryan Lomberg, the Lamborghini, with 7 hits. I'm going to go with those 3 gentlemen for just their kind of relentless pursuit of being physical out there. And I thought it was noticeable.
I noticed that their D-men looked huge, looked gigantic,
Yeah.
some of those guys. It really did stand out to me. I didn't notice the hitting as much as you did, but I thought, boy, that's a good place to start from when you're kind of retooling or retweaking a team to have some huge dudes back there just hulking men. So I think also probably a little shout out, not to change directions too much. Maybe a shout out to the relentlessness of the Blue Jays bullpen. For
the
those
bullpen
guys
game
coming through in the bullpen game and had Canada captivated for that. And it's only one round on to the next one, but start spreading the news, I guess, is what the manager said, among some other things.
Yeah, well, so it's crazy. I think the bullpen game, they only gave up 4 hits.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, I was kind of like, I'm going to look forward to this next game on Thursday. Or when Friday would have been, I guess, the game, right?
Yeah, for how badly those guys got knocked around in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
I wasn't
really well
expecting it. I can admit when I was wrong. I was darn wrong about that.
Likewise. Now, have you got a poll all queued up, Zoobs?
I do, yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into the YouTube poll, brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Extend your golf season this fall and layer up with fall golf essentials. Buy one piece, get the second piece at 50% off. All Adidas footwear, 50% off, located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. Great people over there. And like I've said in the past, if Shogger can get his score down under 80, anybody can with the help of our good buddies over at DeBoer's.
People should be running down to that place. Without question. Okay, the question tonight was, with these guys we've speculated about quite a bit leading up to this. So the question tonight was, whose Oilers debut were you most impressed with? We got Tomashik, we got Ike Howard, we got Mangiapane, and we got Alec Regula. And there's 2 pretty clear front runners, and that's fine. But I thought they all were noticeable at moments tonight.
Yeah, I think of all of them, I felt Ike Howard's maybe the least noticeable. Now, he and Savoy both had opportunity to be huge heroes in the shootout. But I found Ike, he was trying to find open ice, and he had the one nice break, and he shot and just missed it wide. But there's something there. Now with the sign of Jack Rossovic, will TBD what happens with him. But Regula, I think Shogger laid it out pretty well. He looked really good early. Then I thought his ice time kind of went down as the game went on, but I want to see more with him. And then Tomashik, the good plays with the puck on a stick, the not so penalties. If you're taking a tripping and a hooking, those are really tough ones to sell to your coach, Zoobs.
Yeah, 2 penalties, and were they both in the first period, or was the second one in the second period? The goal was scored on, I guess. Yeah, those were tough because other than that, I mean, at least that feels like a fixable thing, because other than that, goodness, he looked so composed. He fit right in with the power. He was a real contributor on the power play. And even on the power play in overtime, they did that same play down to him, and he tried to backhand it, and Wolf read it well and made a great save right along the post. But that was a really poised play by him. He's obviously not a kid. I think you saw the difference tonight between the kids playing their first Oiler game and this guy playing his first NHL game.
Yeah, really well said. And then, I was floored. They had him out there before Nugent Hopkins on the power play in overtime. I was floored. Now, halfway through, they swapped him out. But that tells me that, maybe they like a different look on that power play, right? A right shot and a shooter. Although, should be mentioned, Nuge, 3 points tonight. Hello.
Yeah.
Nice little debut for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Let's pause here. When we come back, Chagra will be done. I think he was going to do a quick little rip on the electrical. And when we get back, we'll get into some a news story. The Oilers have been busy signing. We'll get to that and more next here on the show.
It's coming.
Line repair and replacement using advanced trenchless methods for fast, clean results. They provide detailed sewer assessments and scoping to identify problems before they become costly. Serving both residential and commercial properties, no job is too big or too small, and with over 40 years of experience, they've seen it all. Trust Mainline to keep your lines flowing smoothly.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Zay Chagra.
Yep. Rolling right along here on Got Your Back. Time now for our takeaways, brought to you by HSE Core Services. From creating and managing safety programs to audits and those required contractor registries, HSE Core keeps your business compliant so you can keep working. And if you're a business owner, you know what we're talking about. This is stuff that needs to be managed and it needs to be handled. And they are experts at HSE Core. www.hsecor.com. All right, we got the full crew on board here. Rob Brown joins us, just having finished up the post-game show on 880 Ched. Once again, a reminder, I am in the Timberhouse studio, the freshly minted Timberhouse studio with the biophilic design and all. Loving it. Walked into the office tonight and just immediately relaxed. So looking forward to a nice, calm rest of the show. Brownie Struds and I just beat that game around a little bit. Before we get to Jack Roslovic, we'll pull some of your thoughts on it. I mean, the Skinner situation is fairly obvious. That can happen. That's a tough one. So I don't even know if there's much more to add on that. But where do you want to start about what went wrong for this team tonight?
I thought for 30 minutes, the entire team played pretty good. And then they just started turning the puck over. Took some silly penalties. I thought Connor and Leon, very good. Power play, good. I thought Mangiapane and Tomashik were good. But I think after that, it was very quiet. I think that as the game moved on, a lot of players you didn't notice. I thought Trent Frederick, that's 4 games he's played with Connor and Leon. He's had one good game with them. You're taking away his strength as a player, which is physicality, playing on that with those two, simply because they don't dump the puck in because they don't have to. So it was, for 30 minutes, a pretty sound hockey game that got away from them, and they had a hard time getting it back. When Connor and Leon weren't on the ice, they really weren't creating much in the last 30 minutes of that hockey game.
Yeah, I think that's well said. What do you do moving forward, Struds, with that line? They actually they shifted Mangiapane up for a couple of shifts, and of course we saw him get the goal there. I know they want to try and let things breathe a little more this year than maybe they have in previous years, but to Brownie's point, this Frederick thing, I mean, how long do you give it when, Mangiapane scored the nice goal? And I mean, do you just do that next game, you think?
Yeah, I'm with Brownie. And I think we discussed this. I think it was last or one of the previous podcasts. Like, I just don't think that is where he needs to be. I don't think it's a good fit for any of them. So, maybe we can find someone else can slide in and give Mangiapane a chance. Ultimately, he was probably supposed to be there. The good news is that Hyman's skating, and he'll be back at some point. I'm not saying for Saturday, but so I don't think there's going to be a massive long-term decision. I think when Hyman comes back, I think Hyman goes there because it seems to be the natural fit. You load up one line, but I guess you can give it one more game, but I just don't think that they're complimenting. Brownie made a really good point. I want to see him at center. I want him seeing heavy down low, holding on to the puck. And I don't know that he even really held the puck or touched the puck all night, did he, guys?
No, you're right, Struts. He doesn't, because playing with Connor and Leon, you're just pushing it to them. And you never hold on to the puck because they don't want you to. Now, Hyman, when he plays with Connor, he does, but he's a much better hockey player than Trent Frederick. I mean, he's a 54 goal scorer. I just think you're losing what Frederick's strengths are, having him there. Now, I understand with Mangiapane, if you put him with Connor and Leon, well, you are really, really thin on lines 2, 3, and 4 then. That's really tough. But it's just not working. 4 games, he just doesn't create, and sometimes the plays end with him. He doesn't see the game the same way they do. He's just not built that way. So to me, Connor and Leon were great in this game, but they were doing it a lot by themselves. And I'm not sure maybe put Tomashek up with those two. He's on the power play with them already. Move Frederick down, he can play the third line center then. And something along that line. But it just, to me, 4 games, and there's only been one good one in that stretch, and you're playing with the 2 best players in the world. I just think you're trying to fit a square into a circle, because he's just not the type of player that will succeed with those two, in my opinion.
Yeah, there was the one play where they were zipping it around, and McDavid and Draisaitl were doing their thing, and then Leon caught Frederick, sprung out on the left side, I believe, and threaded a beautiful pass through, and he just couldn't handle the pass, and it just hit his stick and fell into the corner, right? And I'm not trying to be too hard on him, but if you want to play with McDavid and Draisaitl, you got to be able to grab those passes. And I'll say this about Podkolzin, he's pretty good when it comes to grabbing those passes and hanging onto the puck and the play not dying on his stick. So I think, Brownie, you make the best point of it is that I think maybe Frederick needs to just be allowed to be Frederick here, get his bearings, get going. It's been a while since he's felt normal. Like, let him get the beast back in his game before he asked the artist to come out playing with these guys. And so it'll be interesting to see if they make that change. What did you guys think of some of the other lines? I mean, what did you think about Henrique was pretty awesome in the face-off circle, but what about those we'll call them the bottom 2 lines, Brownie, and what they were giving through most of that game when the Oilers weren't falling to pieces for a few minutes?
I honestly, I thought Tomashek was pretty good. I thought he played well. He created. I thought Henrique and he, and I believe that was with Kapanen. Was he with Kapanen, those two? Or no, they were with Howard. I mean, Howard had a couple really good looks. And the one where I was like, it's just him and Wolf. And just Howard lost control of the puck. I thought, I don't think any of the lines really had a whole lot of chemistry. I don't think they created a lot. I think there was a few individual moments that were good. Like Tomashek made some good plays. Henrique had a couple good plays, but you never saw any real sustained pressure from lines 2, 3, or 4 Struds. And that's where I think the Calgary Flames started to get a little bit of confidence, is if they survived Connor and Leon, well, then they could start pushing back, and we saw that in the second half.
Yeah, and that's a challenge when you're missing Hyman and put those 2 guys on the same line together, obviously. I didn't mind the other lines. I mean, it's the Calgary Flames, and you should be able to play against them, really. Any line. Like that's not a wagon of a team with offense. So I thought I didn't mind to see it. I'm not looking to change the lines. I do think that your point of moving Frederick off and, maybe moving Tomashek up makes some sense, but then you have to rejig the lines for them to make sense. But I wouldn't just wipe the slate clean because of what we've seen today. You got to give him a little bit of chance to breathe here on lines 3 and 4 if you're not changing any of the lines at all.
Zuby, did we have any more sound to get to, or did we roll through all of that?
What did I get? One other one I got Knobloch on when the game turned.
Yeah, you know what? Let's listen to that because we were talking about some of the mistakes that were made before. So here's Chris Knobloch.
And I think I even included your question here because he was pretty definitive the way he didn't even let you finish.
What do you think happened there that shifted it in their momentum? What did you guys get away from, you think?
Turnovers. As soon as we made it 3-0, we made some turnovers. And, the first goal was an unfortunate bounce in front of our net, but should never have been in our. We had a chance to get it in. We ended up getting hemmed in because we didn't get a puck in deep. We didn't get change. It started there, and then right before the goal, we had a turnover on the attack, and they come down and score. Even their power play goal, they got the power play goal right off a turnover. We turn over the puck in the offensive zone. They go down. We take a penalty right there, and then that's 3-2. So that's a turning point right there. As soon as we made it 3-0, we got really sloppy with the puck. Before that, I thought we were outstanding with it. But that was definitely the turning point.
All right. That is the Weiss Johnson sound box. Excuse me. Gentlemen, there was a signing tonight, mid-game. Kind of odd that happened. But sometimes that's the way it goes. And this signing it's not official yet. They got to register it with the league and do the trade or just get it all made official. But they can't do that until they move some elements on their roster around because they don't have a roster spot. So we'll see some movement. And maybe we'll get to that potential movement in a minute here. But Struds, I'll start with you. Jack Roslovic, 22 goals last season in 81 games played. He's played over 500 NHL games. 1 year, $1.5 million. What was your initial thought?
So ever since he's been drafted with Winnipeg, and I was on, we used to do the TSN 1260 show. Every time the Oilers would play a team that Jack Roslovic was on, my question was, how's Jack Roslovic doing? Is he coming around? Because I saw flashes of the game I really like. The challenge I think about Jack Roslovic is that he leaves you wanting more. Every time I've seen him play, I'm like, this is good, but he leaves me wanting more. So now here he is, well into his career, scored 22 goals last year. I believe he changed agents this summer, was probably looking for a better deal than what he was got. And I think it was Pierre LeBrun who said that he turned down the Oilers early in the year. Why does he only get $1.5 million now? There's something. Now he can skate, he's got skills, he's the right shot. Like there's a lot of things I like about him. But I think you're getting a guy on a bargain deal here for some reason that I don't know why. But there's a lot to like about him, but I think there are times he leaves you wanting more, Brownie.
That's good point, Struts, because I have seen him play and watched him play, and I'm like, oh, this kid's got talent. Like that's a really good play. Yet he moves from team to team. He had 22 goals last year for the Carolina Hurricanes and was healthy scratched in the playoffs. So there's a part of his game that is very, very good. And I don't know because I haven't seen him enough, but I'm guessing it's the consistency of doing it shift to shift and game to game because he's highly skilled. He can move. And as Schauger put in our little texting group, he's not small. He's 6'1", but I don't know if he plays that way. To me, this is an opportunity that he does not want to waste because as he saw this summer, there weren't a lot of phone calls coming because he eventually made it through training camp and signed your 1-year deal. He is someone, what he is another option for the Oilers because they have a lot of unknowns. How is Savoy going to be? How is Howard going to be? How is Mashak going to be? We don't know because they've never played in the NHL. So you're hoping they're going to be what you expect. But now you've got another option that has been in the NHL, that has scored in the NHL, and he will get an opportunity here to resurrect a career that's probably gone a little bit stale.
I mean, I think $1.5 million, it's pretty low risk, I would say. I'm not sure what they're going to get, and I'm not sure which direction his career is going to trend in. Clearly, there's a reason that other teams didn't jump on him. Sounds like, when you see a guy split ways with his agent like that after a summer where there were no deals coming off a 22-goal season, sounds like maybe there's a expectation on what the marketplace will be. And so you're waiting and waiting and waiting for that marketplace to show up, and it never does. There's been reporting by LeBrun and I think others that the Oilers actually had a deal on the table that he rebuffed at the time. So they circle back when he's got the new agent and he comes in. But he'd been sitting there, and everyone else knew he was available. And everyone else had their scouting reports on him, and lots of other teams probably, would have gotten him for in and around this dollar figure. So clearly it's not the perfect player here, but pretty low risk, Struds. And I would underline it with that. The potential to just be able to score 20 goals at under $2 million, considering, where the cap is. I think it's worth it to bring him in and take a look.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, if it's $3 million, you're like, whoa, slow down, everybody. But for $1.5 million,
Yeah.
and you're going to have a highly motivated player that knows there's probably opportunity to play right now beside Connor and Leon. I don't know that there's a guy that's a clear-cut winner on it. He can skate. He's got skills. He thinks the game pretty well. So I think if Oilers fans understand that there's a reason this player was available, and they come in with reasonable expectations, I think that he can meet those expectations. So I'm interested to see where he really fits in here with this group, because now there's a lot of similar type players, that they can play that. And I think Jack plays some center, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was playing second line center or first line center, maybe in Columbus for a while. Which
Yeah,
I don't believe he is. He isn't that, but he can play some center as well. So it's another option, that Stan Bowman and Chris Knobloch like guys that play all three. Well, for sure, two positions, I guess, wing and center.
I was
what also
texting a little bit.
Shocker with this team is what this team has become. It's become more skilled and less physical, less abrasive. You move out a Perry, a Kane, a Connor Brown, even an Arvidsson played with an abrasiveness. And you bring in a Savoy and a Howard and now a Roslovic and a Tomashik, more skilled. But I think they've lost some of the abrasiveness that we saw at times last year, especially in the playoffs when the Oilers bullied other teams. They're a different style of team now than we saw last year when the season ended.
Plays into your point too about letting Trent Frederick be that player, putting him in a position to be that player. I will say, the idea of Pod Colson and Noah Philp, and when he is motivated to play a hard game like that, Kapanen, those are big guys that move pretty well and are pretty heavy guys that can finish checks. There's a nice sort of level of speed and physicality in that layer. Kapanen isn't always that interested, right? He doesn't always bring that level, but he was trying to throw some big hits tonight, skating well. And so they do have some heaviness, Struds, down near the bottom, maybe for what they lack up top.
Yeah, and Hyman makes a big difference. The guy's he plays, he can be really physical, obviously in the playoffs, but he's a heavier type player. Mangiapane, I thought he, especially early in the game, I thought he was going to the net and had a bit of an exchange with some of the Flames defensemen. So there is there, but there's no doubt that they look and are going to play smaller than they did last year. There's no doubt about that on this group. So that's something they have to address. But right now, it looks like they're trying to add pieces. Stan's got to go out and find things for cheap, and they don't cost anything. And they've done that with many players. And last year, Kapanen worked out pretty well. Could Jack be this year's Kapanen?
To finish the thought process here on Jack Roslovic, 45 playoff games, 3 goals. And Brownie talked about him having been healthy scratched in the past as well. 526 regular season games, 100 goals. So, boy, there's a dramatic drop-off in his goal scoring at playoff time compared to, what his regular season looks like. So that would be an area of concern. Texting a little bit with Hart Levine about what this, from Puckpedia, about what this could look like. I'll just paraphrase this a bit. Basically, they have 325K space in LTIR with 26 guys on the roster to activate Hyman. have to clear $2.8 million. So just have to send a bunch of the extra guys down. Lazar, Stetcher, any two others would do it. And then they'd have 22 guys. Or if they move a more expensive guy, could make it work sending 3 down. So yeah, they're gonna have to move some guys around here. Suggested Janmark to IR. So we'll see what happens. It's, they can't even register the deal until they make a move. So we'll see a roster move here coming up, and we'll see what it is. Might buy Ike Howard a little bit time in the American Hockey League to get his pro footing underneath him. We'll see if that ends up being a byproduct of this. That was Takeaways brought to you by HSE Core Services. Take a quick break. When we come back, we got Brownie Points. We got Struddy's World. We'll take a lap around the hockey world and ask us anything as well. Great number on the stream. So fire us your questions, and Struddy and I will get to those in a little bit. You got her dialed in. We got your back. Presented by Timberhouse.
Choosing to buy a home is one of the biggest financial and personal decisions you'll ever make. It's a decision that requires strategic planning, market expertise, and a trusted advisor to guide the way. The team at Body Realty with Royal LePage AR team combines deep market knowledge, forward-thinking guidance, and exceptional dedication to make the process effortless and stress-free. Where every client is treated like the only client, visit BaddyRealty.com, a real estate group like no other.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit BelvedereGCC.com today. Yes, it is time for Brownie Points, brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers. The 2025 Ram 1500. It is Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Visit your Alberta Ram dealer to get into this award-winning truck at a competitive price. Capable, stylish, powerful. It is Ram. Brownie.
Well, I don't usually like to give brownie points to the opposition, especially when they beat you, but I feel I have to tonight. I got 214 brownie points to Calgary Flames goalie Dustin Wolf. The California kid was drafted 214th overall in the 7th round. Turned out to be a pretty good draft pick. Last year, a finalist for Rookie of the Year. And tonight was the number one reason that the Calgary Flames walked away with the 2 points. He was great in this hockey game tonight. I got one big brownie point to Andrew Mangiapane, who scored his first goal as an Oiler on his first shot as an Oiler. When you are an offensive player and you come to a new team, there's a lot of pressure on you, and you put it on yourself to want to produce quickly. Mangiapane, I believe, scored in his first exhibition game with the Oilers, and then tonight, that was a pretty goal. That was a goal-scorer goal. That will give you confidence going forward. I got 29 brownie points to David Tomashek. Of all the Oilers rookie, and I don't think he's classified as a rookie by the NHL, but he's a first-year player for the Oilers. Of all the rookies, I thought he was easily the most noticeable and most confident in this game tonight, and he probably should be, at being the oldest at 29. Great first point as an Oiler on Leon's goal. That was a pretty play on the power play. I got 400 brownie points to Leon Draisaitl, who scored his 400th NHL goal tonight, and it possibly might have been the easiest goal of his career on the great pass from Tomashek. But that's not why he's getting these 400 points. He's getting it for the absolutely stupid, sick goal that he scored in the shootout. Dustin Wolf was incredible. He's fantastic in shootouts, and Leon Draisaitl made him look silly in that shootout. Unfortunately, that was the only one that the Edmonton Oilers beat Wolf with. And the final one, you know what? It was a bad night. If you're an Oiler fan, you're a little sad. But if you're a Canadian sports fan, it's a good night. I got 8 brownie points to the Toronto Blue Jays, who took down the evil empire New York Yankees in a bullpen game where they used 8 pitchers and shut down the best offense in the American League. They move on to the American League Finals on Sunday Go Jays, go. And those are my brownie points.
All right. How about that celebration after? I looked at the TV and I was like, oh, somebody win the World Series? My goodness. Just,
You beat the Yankees. That is the World Series.
It's
I
worth
know.
it.
I don't know. Struds, what do you think of that? What do you think of the way they celebrate after winning one series?
If you played 162 games and had to play another 4 to just get to the final of your American League, I'd be partying as well. I love it. It's a tradition.
I agree.
I think it's great.
I think it's fantastic. I think it like all the people that are Blue Jay fans were celebrating along with them. It is a long year, and the Yankees are good, and 100%. I thought it was a fantastic celebration. Now bring on the Tigers and the Mariners. It's the Blue Jays year. I said it before. I said this is the year that the Canadian team wins baseball and a Canadian team wins the Stanley Cup.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I threw it out there. Boom.
Wow. That's a hot take.
Bold prediction.
I posted a meme one time about how, hockey teams are like, ooh, should we touch the trophy or not? In the third round of the playoffs to get to the finals. And in baseball, you win the first round of 3 and it's like full champagne celebration with the plastic up and the ski goggles and everything is like, okay, I guess there's the level of superstition is much lower in baseball.
Yeah, guys walking around shirtless with ski goggles on. You still got a long way to go before the real celebration happens. But I guess, hey, enjoy the journey. That is, as Noel Rinsky says, Shogger, that happens in baseball. I get it. Good stuff. That was Brownie Points brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. Roll Struddy's intro, please. And thank you. Pretty please.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Oh, that music would have been fine, Zuby.
Brought in a few new Struddy's World remixes for the debut today.
I like it. We good?
Yeah.
We steady? Good stuff. Maybe just a little laggy on my computer. All good, pal. Time for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Ready for a deck that lasts? DLR PVC Decking brings you Vecca Deck and Wolf Serenity. These are exclusive boards with a pure PVC core resistant to water, mold, and insects with a natural wood grain finish protected by UV inhibitors. Your deck stays looking brand new without the sanding, staining of wood. In stock now at both locations in Edmonton and Calgary. Visit www.dlrvinylproducts.ca. Struds, what is our topic tonight, buddy?
Well, there's always special moments when you get to visit with your old coach or people you played with or against. And tonight I was sitting in the alumni seats of the Oilers, and I was sitting with my old partner, Chris Joseph, Kelly Buckberger, my old adversary and coach, and then Craig McTavish, someone I really looked forward to playing for as a player, and it was just fantastic. So we're all sitting there, with our friends, their families, wives, whatever, and watching the game. Then halfway through the first period, 3 guys about 10 rows stand up. The 2 on the ends are wearing Connor McDavid jersey, and the one in the middle is wearing old Uncle Struddy's number 43, saying Strudwick across the back. I think I saw it first. I couldn't have been prouder. I was just staring like, please, someone else see it. And Mac T sees, he's like, oh my God, is that a Strudwick jersey? And Bucky just lost it. So I was so proud. And they're like, we got to get that guy on TV. I'm like, I agree. So everything's going great. I'm feeling great about myself. Not even 10 minutes later, he's covered it up. He put a Gretzky jersey over top of it. Well, that was just the end. I got absolutely abused by him, other people in the section, even my own wife was all over me on that one. So the highs and lows of the game, it was actually mirrored a lot of the Oilers game, the way that their game went today. I was high and then I was low and I was out. So Yeah, I should have got a picture. I couldn't get my phone out fast enough, boys. It was so proud. I was so proud.
I can't believe that Mac T, between periods, went and bought a Gretzky jersey and had one of the girls take it down to that guy just to embarrass you.
Tell him to put it on.
It was
Struddy, you
nuts.
got, just to bring you down a peg here, because clearly you need it.
No.
You got chirped in the media room after the game tonight. You weren't even there to defend yourself.
Oh,
so we're down
chirping
below. We're down below watching the shootout, and because I can't watch the shootout from upstairs because then you can't get down the elevator into the locker room in time. So we're downstairs watching the shootout, and as it was getting to like the 17th or 18th shooter, someone's like, 5 or 6 more, and we're getting into Strudwick territory. Sorry, Struddy's earphones fell out. Did you miss the
popped
chirp?
out. What did he say? Who said it? I didn't hear the chirp.
I don't know. Just a random member of the media, but as it was like 15 or 16 shooters deep, someone goes 5 or 6 more, and we're getting into Strudwick territory. So you were being thought of as the shootout went on and on.
Except the difference is I scored. Those other guys, all these other guys were ringing posts and hitting the pads, wasting time. I could have had that thing over 10 minutes earlier.
Did either of you, speaking of great shootouts, because I have seen Struds' shot, and it was fantastic, any of you guys surprised that A, Mangiapane didn't shoot for the Oilers, and B, that Nazem Kadri didn't shoot till 8 for the Calgary Flames?
100%.
Yep.
I couldn't believe it. I actually forgot they had him in there. Kadri, that is.
Well, I thought I'm waiting for Kadri to shoot, and after about 6 or 7, I started doubting myself, thinking, did Kadri shoot first?
Yeah,
is that why he hasn't shot again? I was shocked. And then Mangiapane, to me, I know that they've got stats and they figured out what's going on and all that, but sometimes gut feelings. He scored a goal in the game. He's playing his old team. To me, that was an easy one. But I was surprised that those two shooters, A, Mangiapane didn't shoot, and B, Kadri didn't go till 8. Could be part of the reason that they went 16 shooters deep.
You know, though, I really liked that he gave Howard and Savoy a chance. I mean, those are huge moments for those young guys to grow from, and they had a chance to be the hero. So I liked that he had the faith. The faith in him. I was hoping that they'd get them out there, and I thought it was well done.
The other question is, why didn't Bush unload? I wanted to see it so bad when he skated up. I thought he was going to cork one. I was like, yes, come on. And then he just took a wrist shot.
Yeah, not many shootouts last season for the Oilers. And I'll be honest with you, I don't see them practice it very often at all. Chris Knobloch just doesn't do that. They don't do that where everybody goes and shoots and winners on one side and losers on the other, unless that's something they do more on the road, but haven't really seen that from them. That was Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Brownie, we'll set you loose, buddy. We'll chat with you after Saturday's game, my friend.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
All right, that is Rob Brown. Rolling right along here on our show. Let's get to our scoreboard, and that is brought to you by The Bridge Sports Therapy, where they fix your golf groin. What sets The Bridge apart is the fully integrated model where physiotherapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, strength coaches collaborate seamlessly as one team. They got clinics at Edmonton, Sherwood Park, that's where I went, the Millennium Place spot, Lethbridge as well, and they're opening up soon in St. Albert, where Brownie lives and can get his golf groin worked on. The Bridge provides accessible team-based care across the province. Learn more at thebridge.fit. Struds, some wacky results tonight. I'm looking at that Los Angeles Vegas game that got a little nutty.
Yeah, we can start there. I mean, a coach's dream. 11 goals against shootout, or 11 goals total in a shootout, 6-5, the Kings win. Dorothea had a hat trick in this game. Should we mention that Mitch Marner had a couple points as well. Eichel scored as well. Then you go over to Bruins and Capitals. You know, Bruins, many people expecting not to have a great year. Well, Bruins got absolutely outshot 36-21, but they win. And I think it's really important that Elias Lindholm got a goal, power play goal early in this one. Tom Wilson scored as well, as did David Pasternak. So the Bruins win 3-1 against the Caps. And then at home, the Leafs beat the Canadiens. 2 empty net goals, so a little bit skewed here, but 5-2 at the end. Johnny Tavares had a couple apples. Matthews an empty netter.
Yeah.
Morgan Riley had a goal and assist, and by all reports played a really good game tonight.
Yeah. Did you watch any of that game, Struds? Did you get to see it?
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I was watching the Blue Jays and I went to the other game. So no.
Yeah.
I can only watch one Toronto team at a time.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I was just gonna say I think the Habs are going to be entertaining. You know, it was an entertaining game. I kind of liked some of just they got some good young offensive players, and it was the score belies the game a little bit. It was a better game than what the 5-2 result looks like. But I was actually pretty entertained watching that game and watching some of those young Habs zipping around out there. So that was our scoreboard, brought to you by The Bridge. Okay, quick break. When we come back, Struds and I are going to take a lap about some other stories going on around the National Hockey League, and then ask us anything as well. Get your questions in on the stream. We'll keep it rolling here on Got Your Back, presented by Timber House Developments.
Beautiful fences exist. With a wide range of styles and colors from wood grain to white, DLR Vinyl products can make your fencing project pop. Because summers are for chilling and grilling, not sanding and drilling. Go vinyl at dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Oh, yeah. Time to take a lap, brought to you by Riverside Motorsports. Family owned and operated, serving Edmonton and area for over 55 years. They feature top brands like Yamaha, Suzuki, Polaris, Husqvarna, Gas, delivering the best selection in the province. A massive inventory of parts and accessories, recognized as the #1 KTM dealership in the country as well. Check them out at www.riversidemotorsports.com or stop in their store just off of St. Albert Trail. Okay, Struddy, what else do we want to take a look at tonight, my friend?
Well, I mean, it's the time people are getting their big extensions done. We saw Kyle Connor do it, and then today Jack Eichel got her done. Signed an 8-year extension with the Vegas Golden Knights. Not a huge surprise here. Let's be honest. I think it was $13.5 million, $108 million. I think this was the easiest negotiation probably on both sides. I'm guessing they want to keep him. He wants to be there. They've won before. He's not searching for a title, although I think Vegas is a good team. So yeah, Jack Eichel returns pretty much for the rest of his career with the Vegas Golden Knights.
So what did you think of that number? Did you think to yourself, yes, that is a fair number, not a big haircut, not a big overpay, that makes a lot of sense? Or do you think that number, I don't know, do you think that number was affected in any way, shape, or form by anything that might have gone on recently, whether it's Kaprizov, whether it's McDavid, whether it's Draisaitl?
So this was my gut. I think that Jack is a really good player in this league. He's made quite a bit of money, or he's making $10 million for a long time. So he's 13.5 for 8 years. And I think this is my gut, is there's no state tax there. So I think it gets him, I'm just rough spitballing, it probably gets him close to what Leon Draisaitl signed for. Right now, I think Leon's better than Jack. I recognize the cap going up and all that, but maybe he's like, you know what? This gets me close to Leon Draisaitl in that group. I'm the highest paid player on my team. I'm good. That was my thought process when I first hear the number. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I just wondered, the dominoes all fell after McDavid signed. And very clearly his deal was an outlier, and I didn't think it was going to have a big impact on these necessarily. But I don't know. A long-term deal like that for a player of Eichel's caliber, I can't help but think if maybe that was worked back a little bit. I just, where this cap is going and the heights that it's going to reach. Kaprizov at $17 million was definitely a little rich, and I know that he pushes points to a different total, but Eichel was coming off one of his best years, and he's won, and I don't know. I can't help but feel like maybe there was some money left on the table. You buy 8 years off of a guy through the best years of his career. I would have thought that might have been a little bit more, but maybe I'm a little out to lunch on that.
No, and I think that the dollar bill contract now is still way up there, right? Like that. Yeah. It's up there, and maybe Jack did leave a little there, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I feel like he's pretty close to Leon, and I'd still want to pay Leon more if I had a team. So that's just very simplified. Okay, we know we don't know yet where Carhart's going to be, but today Michael McLeod, one of the 4 members of the Team Canada that was at the trial, signed a contract with who is it now? Omsk in the KHL, a 3-year contract. Now, I was trying to read, and maybe someone else saw, and if you did, let me know. I didn't see that there was an out of this contract, like an NHL out. I couldn't find it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I would have thought these guys would sign 1-year deals, or something like that with an out. But this is a 3-year deal in the KHL in Omsk. So that's where Michael McLeod will be resuming his hockey playing career.
Yeah, interesting. And, there was a push for some of these guys to work their way back. There was some pushback, and organizations that seemed interested weren't. So it's a little bit of pushback here, and he'll go and head overseas, looks like. But interesting, Struds, your point about whether there is an out or not. That makes a pretty big difference for a guy. Go ride it out for another year, see what the temperature looks and feels like. Go over there and have a good year, and then maybe a year from now, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the others as well.
And lastly, Cam Atkinson officially is done playing, and he's going to sign a one-day contract with the Columbus Blue Jackets, so he can retire a Blue Jacket. And I like this. I know what some people are like, this is stupid. What I like about Rishaug is, who cares? Who cares? It's a one-day contract. It'll be his day on October 16th. They're going to make it special, and the fans can say goodbye to him, and he can retire in the jersey he feels he belongs most in. And let's be honest, I don't think there's a lot of players that have asked to retire as Columbus Blue Jackets. So it's good that he's going back there. I think that's important. Let these guys have their moment, and say goodbye to the fans in their way. So I'm all for it.
I liked him. He was a good player. There was lots of skill there. He was a good goal scorer. And I thought for a smaller guy, like 5'8" and change, I thought he worked pretty hard.
Yeah, and everyone always talked about a good human, and so I'm guessing he might work his way into Columbus somehow, the organization. Mm-hmm. But I think these are nice moments. And why do you care? Why do you care if a guy signs a one-day contract? I never stood with guys, this is stupid. Who cares?
Totally agree.
It doesn't affect you anything. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't hurt the cap.
That was Taking a Lap, brought to you by Riverside Motorsports. We're going to transition right in and get you involved as we push through to our Ask Us Anything segment. That's BJ Electric Supplies that sponsors our Ask Us Anything. Founded in 1976, they are a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings as well. Proudly owned and operated in Edmonton. Great local company. Love our local partners. Visit bjelectric.ca. Zuby, you want to hop in and wrap up that poll, and then we'll blast through a few of these. We are late into the night, almost 10 after 1 on game 1 of the regular season.
Yeah, we'll try to move it along here. The poll question tonight was, whose Oilers debut were you most impressed with? Tomashik getting 46% of the vote. Mangiapane 38%, so pretty close between those two. Regula got 9% and Howard 7%, and I would say that's probably a pretty good reflection of the game, but nice to know those other guys got noticed for some of their good moments that they had. Let's kind of start here because this is funny, and maybe we could just kind of boil it down to this if you guys feel like you have an answer for this. Lohan Top Roll said, I honestly fell asleep during the game. Who was to blame most for the loss? Maybe there's not a person to pin it on, but looking back at the big picture of the game, who or what are you blaming most for this loss, Struddy?
Puck management. And, this is a team that, you need to know, just don't give the other team any life. And 2 plays, the mishandled by Darnell Nurse not taking it deep. And then same thing with Tomashik, loses it and has to take a penalty. Bang, 3-2. If they get through that period, it's 3-0. They probably walk away winning 5-1, 6-1.
I mean, the low-hanging fruit, the easy answer is to stay Stuart Skinner. I mean, that's the life of a goaltender. You're the last line of defense, and when you make a bad mistake, ends up in the net. And when that ends up being a pivotal point in the game, you just have to learn to wear that. But it's more complicated than that. Stu made a bad mistake there. But, you know, the Oilers as a group made a bunch of bad mistakes that led to goals against as well. So I know what they're pushing for. Like, it's not, you know, I'm not gonna grab at it, but I get it on nights like this for goalies, and Stuart Skinner needs to cut back these moments. We can't be talking about too many more of these moments this year.
With some alternate thoughts here, Clifton Tiffinger says maybe what caused the Oilers' collapse was the switching out of the Struddy jersey.
Could be.
And Lauren the Alchemist said,
time?
Lauren the Alchemist said the Oilers looked good before they signed Roslovic. So which one of those two things do you think would have been most to blame?
Yeah, you start hanging it. Why would you hide a jersey with a Strudwick or with a Gretzky jersey? It's just, you wore it in. You wore it in. Next time, just wear it with pride.
Maybe hoping when Gretz was there too to wave to him.
Maybe when they need defense, he wears a Strudwick jersey, and when the team needs offense, he switches to the Gretzky jersey. So just kind of whatever is needed in the moment.
Well, I wonder how many goals Gretzky scored in a shootout before. Right? I don't think his totals were that impressive.
Okay, last thing on the sort of goalie front, Lauren the Alchemist says, who starts on Saturday? Is this already a done deal, Shogger?
I would assume that this is one of those pre-planned scenarios where they had this mapped out already. I would think that it would be Skinner start, Struds. You give your starter the first couple of games of the year. That would be my
100%.
gut.
100% you put him in. I don't even think it's a question. You just roll him in there. Hey, man, this is our starting goalie. We have time between games. Get him in there. We got to get him up and running. 100% I put him back in.
But my point is, I think they have a set schedule ahead of time. And I don't think they're going to change that schedule based on tonight's result, if that's what the question implies.
Yeah, fair point.
Forgive me if we talked about this. Canadian said, curious what the guys thought of the penalty kill tonight. Still too passive for my liking. Too much time and space for the power play. Struddy, you love to talk PK. What did you say?
Man, I was happy to be in the building to see it. Much different. Interesting combos here they're going with. And one of the combos is Connor and Leon. And so I agree with everything you said. It is passive. I'd like a little more aggression out there. But I'm floored that those two guys are there. I've been thinking about it, and Shar, you can chime in here. I wonder if they're not doing it to kind of challenge them in a different way, right? To make the game a little bit different. The problem by using one of those those two as one of the three pairs, two other players aren't getting out there and getting their beaks wet. So, because I believe it was Mangiapane and Nuge, it was Henrique and Savoy, and then the two big guys together were your three sets.
Well, and they were out second. Like this wasn't them picking up the tail end of a penalty kill to transition so that the other team's third or fourth line was on the ice at the end. That's what they used to do. They would put those guys out last, knowing that the top guys on the other team had just finished a power play and they were going to get third and fourth liners. That's not what this was. They were a regular group. They were the second out, and they were actually being used as core penalty killers in this game. We don't see this. We have not seen this over the last number of years. This is very different. And so it'll be interesting to see how long this lasts, right? You look at the ice time tonight, and again, it was overtime, so we'll always keep that in mind, but that's an extra 1 minute and 58 seconds of ice time for Connor McDavid. For Leon Draisaitl, it was 2 minutes and 56 seconds of shorthanded time on the ice for Leon Draisaitl of ice time, Struds, where they're not necessarily, I mean, they're dangerous, but it's not a focus on offense, and they're just bleeding more minutes over to those guys.
I got to believe they want to be challenged in a different way. I mean, it doesn't, because I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't like playing my top players on the penalty kill regularly. And this was game one, and it was right away. They were out the door.
All right, I got about 5 more I want to do. Some are quick hitters. I got some non-hockey ones, like our friend Kayla Weethorn coming in saying, how do you take your coffee/tea? Shogger, you want to go first on that one?
Yeah. So black coffee, first thing in the morning. But as I outlined earlier on the show last month, I've starting with a glass of lemon water, freshly squeezed lemon water. Drop that into the stomach first. right? It's, believe it or not, lemon. It's alkaline. And so what that does with a bit of water is it protects your stomach lining so that when you then drink your first black coffee, it doesn't agitate the stomach lining, and then you don't end up with heartburn later on in the day. So it's just a really good solid mix. So yeah, black coffee, but only as a chaser after some nice freshly squeezed lemon juice. Struds?
I like my tea like the way I shoot the puck, high and hard.
What?
So
how is tea high or hard?
So I like my tea with a splash of local honey. That's all I do. Yeah, loose leaf tea with splash of local honey.
And I'm a coffee guy.
Local honey? Was that was that local?
Local is in tea from the nearby surroundings.
Oh, nice. Got it. Sorry, Zuby.
Not loco honey, like some cool brand of crazy honey.
Just local, like close.
I'm a coffee guy, and I like Cremo. If you put milk in your coffee, that's preposterous. You're just watering it down. One Cremo, and I actually put a little bit of honey in my coffee, or some brown sugar if I can get it. Very, very little.
Honey in your coffee? I've not heard that before. Honey in the coffee?
Yeah. That's just for a little bit of sweet. It's the same as putting some sugar in it.
Nature's sugar. Maybe you can line your stomach with that.
It's a superfood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't honey a superfood?
Everything's a superfood. Nuts, blueberries.
Struddy and I weighed in on this morning. Maybe Struddy wants to give another thought, but Stephen Petrick wanted to know your thoughts on the Ekholm contract, Schauger.
Yeah, I like it because I think it allows Matthias Ekholm to kind of age gracefully. Like, I think whether he's a second or a third pairing defenseman on the tail end of this contract, the salary cap and the way it's going to rise over the life of this contract, it'll be okay either way. So if he's a third pairing defenseman at $4 million and the cap's at 120, you're probably going to be okay. So I think I'm okay with where the number's at. And I think he's still got some time as a top pairing defenseman. So I get it. He's the right guy in the room. They gave him the no move, and I think it'll age reasonably gracefully considering where the cap is going.
Yeah, I think it's a great move. Now it's, they've got their back end locked up except for Kulak. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. To see you want to take a look at here. So you want to be here.
Yeah, and I did a little reporting on that earlier today. They've had some discussions, but I'm not sure how much of a rush Kulak's side would or should be in, because the free agent D market, I mean, D-men are getting paid. And Kulak is always good in the playoffs. His body of work is really good here with the Oilers. He's a great skater. People aren't going to be afraid about a drop-off because of how good his legs are. So I'm not sure. I think the Oilers would love to sign him, but it's just strategically for him. He's made good money in his career, but the way the market has gone on D-men, if he has a really strong year and a good playoff, might get to another level. I mean, look what Cody Ceci just signed for. So it'll be interesting to see what Kulak does.
All right, 3 more. Blommer wants to know, what's your favorite action movie franchise? This is a deep cut. What do you got, Struddy?
Man, I don't know. I wasn't prepared for the Blommer to bring this in game 1. I guess the Iron Man, all that stuff. What is that? The Marmalade or something? Marvel? Yeah, Marvel.
Oh, boy. There's a throwaway answer if there ever was one.
I don't know.
Marmalade stuff. I'll go with the Mission Impossibles.
Oh, good one.
I'll say the Mission Impossibles. I mean, Bond, like, I really like the Bond series too, so those are kind of 2. But the thing about the Mission Impossibles is the way Tom Cruise has taken it next level with their core stunts. They're a little gimmicky and stuff, but we all know he's doing that crap by himself. Like, he's really doing that. And nobody else on the planet does that. It's phenomenal, the extent that they've taken these stunts to. And those alone have made it pretty unreal. Love the Bournes as well, the Bourne Identities and Ultimatums and such. So there's 3. Zuby, you?
I might lean Mission Impossible, except I haven't seen enough of them. But what I'm gonna do is jump on Ryan Smith's nose, if you know what I mean. He said Die Hard, and Die Hard has I think there's 5 or 6 Die Hards. The strength of 1 weighs it so heavily, and then 2's okay, 3's is bad, and then 4, or is it? I don't know. There's 2.5 really good ones that weigh that franchise out enough for me. The Sam Jackson one, I can't remember if that's the 3rd or the 4th. Die Hard with a Vengeance. That's very good as well. Before they go to Russia or whatever. So I'll take Die Hard. One last hockey one here. Guessing is easy. A few people kind of brought this name up on the stream tonight, so guessing is easy says, do you guys think if we can, we the Oilers, trade Henrique, $3 million? If not, what is the realistic expectations? 10 goals or 20 goals or 30 points, or is he just thought of as being that valuable as a penalty killer and faceoff guy?
12 goals, 55% in the faceoff circle. Be a good year for him. Struds, you?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where he's at. He's so smart. You guys know how I feel about Rico. I advocated for him to be traded here. They got him. I think he's a really smart player. Understands, how to contribute as his role or game changes, and you need those types of guys. I think if you got 12 goals and 55 in the dot, penalty kill, I think there's something there for $3 million.
All right, last one, because this is a good one, and there's been lots of talk of backgrounds lately. So Ro Nelson wants to know, of all of the items in your home studio backgrounds, what is your most treasured treasure, or what do you still want to add?
Well, I'll tell you the one that I have. I'll grab it. The audience can't even see. One sec. This one here. So it's a little bit sentimental. That's my late father and I when I was just a little kid. And then if anybody has never read the Man in the Glass poem, great poem. So go read that. My dad gave us all that. And so that's me and my dad. But that just is always on my desk, and it sits here along with his fish bonker. He had a fish bonker from back in the day. So a couple of memorabilia items from my dad, my late father.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's I can't even come close to that. Obviously,
your chess piece, Struds.
Yeah, no, I have a lot. Yeah, no, that's not too sentimental. But no, I have a couple items. The one above me here is a gargoyle I bought when I was 20 to ward off evil spirits, and it's worked pretty well. But I think my favorite one, my sister-in-law got me an autographed album of Frank Sinatra many years ago, and I have it up there. And that's my it's all registered, or what do they call it, verified.
Okay, so she didn't get it autographed. It's just an old autograph.
She found it. Yeah. She found it in a store somewhere, and it's all legit. And she knew I like Frank, so I have it. That's probably my favorite thing.
I love my posters. I have lots of great knickknacks from my kids, which you can't see that well. And this is not, but there was another question. Someone said, who's your favorite Oiler goalie not named Fuhrer? Your favorite past Oiler goalie not named Fuhrer, and mine's this guy. So Andy Moog. So I have that up there as well. So maybe not my most treasured, but kind of fun. Something I wanted the folks to get their eyes on tonight.
That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. As always, thank you for all of your thoughtful questions, both hockey-related and not. Always love engaging with the live audience here on the stream, and we thank you. Time for our play of the day, brought to you by Mainline Water and Sewer, servicing the Strudwick neighborhood. Your trusted choice for over 40 years, specializing in sewer line replacement and expert water line repair. Slow drains are a sign it's time for attention, and aging lines can cause basement backups. They've got a trenchless method that's quick, low impact, and often finished in a day, complete with backflow protection. Visit mainlinewaterandsewer.ca. What do we have lined up for a play of the day tonight, Struds?
The longer Connor Leon play here, we're going to see pretty incredible stats go up. And for Leon to get to 400 goals in 791 games, getting a pass from his good buddy David Tomashuk, I thought it was a real special moment. So incredible, 400 goals for the big guy.
Yep. I wonder that I was almost glad that he didn't talk after the game, because that was going to be one of those questions that we probably had to ask him. Like, so after a loss, how do you feel about 400 goals? And he'd just be like, I'll see you in 2 years for 500. Like these milestones just don't. Should also mention, by the way, Draisaitl was supposed to do media after the game, but I think he was in with the training staff getting some stuff. So I think we all saw him block that shot. My guess is just making sure that the foot is okay and everything there, Streds. So, but you always raise your eyebrow a little when a guy's not available for media because of medical stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. So we'll see what happens tomorrow and get back at it Saturday.
All right, good job tonight, guys. Thanks for putting in the late shift. It's been a big, 24, 36 hours here. Got your back last night, Struddy's World today. Another got your back tonight. We're going to drop a Ray and Dregs. We'll be up bright and early tomorrow morning. Zuby, you and I doing that. So tons of pods here from Rev Media and got your back in the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast. So keep it dialed in to all of our socials. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll chat again in a couple of days when the Oilers are playing the Vancouver Canucks. We'll see you post-game.